Okay, hi. Yeah, first of all, I thought about, this is a lightning talk, how deep I should dive into how to work with Semantic Wikibase, but I know there are a lot of experts here, so I try to make it a bit of common knowledge about Semantic Wikibase and a bit of what are the best practices, how to use it. So first of all, where do we come from? So in the Open Science Lab at TIP, we work a lot with Wikibase. Our users, our projects often uses Wikibase as a database, and what we are doing is that we are providing tools and developing tools around Wikibase to make it, to enhance its functionality or make it easier to use. And I know this is maybe what most of you know, but if anybody here doesn't know it, just for the naming, we have the Wikimedia ecosystem. One part of it is Wikidata, the collaborative database, and Wikibase is the software behind that, so you could call it a semantic database software. And whenever you want to use Wikibase or Semantic Wikibase, this is a bit of what you need to make this work. So at the left side, you need for sure in your infrastructure, like a computer with an operating system, you need MediaWiki, which is a general framework which all this runs off, and then you have these extensions. 1,500 extensions in some. Wikibase is one extension of these. And then there's, which is database, mainly database extension. And then you have Semantic Mediawiki, which we heard about, which is also about storing data, but has a large focus on presenting data and visualize data. And Semantic Wikibase, which this talk is about, is an extension that combines Semantic Mediawiki with Wikibase. And then, on the other hand, you have some services which helps you to insert your data into your database and connect different databases and such, these things. Okay, and what we do, if you want to use Semantic Wikibase, I suggest to use our tool Wikibase for Research, because to combine these two extensions is a lot of work. Save you this time and the trouble, just install Wikibase for Research and you can just use it and try it out. Okay, this is the front end that you have normally when you use Wikibase. You have a MediaWiki with a fixed front end, so you can visualize the data that's within Wikibase, and on the same page you can edit the data. But the downside here is you have no customization features. You cannot make it look nicer. You can use maybe a bit of CSS, but you cannot really customize it. And also you cannot aggregate items, so you cannot in this view say, okay, I want to make a sum of some of the values, or like display it here as a map, or like these things. You have a SparkQL query editor where you have some visualizations, but these are then not within the wiki embedded. And when you use Semantic MediaWiki or Semantic or the combination of both, then you have the possibility to make nice visualizations, like for example display your data as a map, use of forms that have a lot of helper methods. Also you can define custom components, like for example here the timelines that are pulled between different items, and make a presentation layer, a website that really looks nice and that you can use to present your data. Also you can, when you use Semantic Wikibase and you have the best of both worlds, you have the Semantic MediaWiki presentation layer, but your data is separated from the presentation and from the queries. So for example, you can have some guys who are just focusing on the data and some guys who are focusing on presentation layer, and you don't have editing conflicts that you have to solve. Also, Wikibase is very good in with federated queries, like combining several databases, for example, Wikidata with your own database. So for example, here we had just the names of persons in our Wikibase, and we did federated queries with FabGrid and Wikidata to get more info about these persons and even images about these persons and display it in our wiki. And in Semantic MediaWiki, you can also integrate custom visualizations. For example, here we integrated widgets of our 3D viewer, Semantic Compact, which is then just embedded in your web page where you have 3D objects that you can view or annotate, and it's really a more seamless integration than you would have when you just use a Wikibase. Okay, but what about editing your data? In Wikibase, you have your one page where you can edit and view your data. And in Semantic Mediawiki, you can also make edit of your Wikibase. Normally, the data flow is just from Wikibase to Semantic Mediawiki. So everything of your data you put into the Wikibase, and then you can visualize it in Semantic Mediawiki. But there are some tricks which you can use. So for example, here we have this technology of widgets, which is just a custom JavaScript HTML that you define, that your users cannot change. So you can just say, okay, I define a widget where I create a form to change some of my Wikibase items, and then use the Wikibase, the MediaWiki API to write this item changes into the database again. So it's a bit of going out of the wiki, come around and write into the Wikibase from outside. The downside here is that you have to define the form by yourself, and you don't get the full support of forms. Like, for example, you have a combo box here and you want the user to select some values that are already in the database. But you can solve this also. You could use page forms to display the form and get the full support, and then just collect the values from the form and put it to the widget add item, and the widget is then just take care of writing it to the database. So this is one of the best practice. The good thing is here that you can have custom forms that are really representing your workflows and not your data model. So you don't have to model your data model like your workflows, which doesn't work. It's more customizable here. Okay, and another thing is Wikibase doesn't support categories. In classic MediaWiki, you have these categories. Every page have a category, like it's reviewed or it's finished or it's part of a data type, whatever. And a Wikibase item is a page in MediaWiki but cannot have a category. But there is also a bit of a hack about it. You can have categories defined, and then you just define a linking page which says, okay, I'm in the category 1, and I'm linked. I have a semantic property which links to a Wikibase item, and then you can make queries out of it. And then you can, for example, say, okay, I want to have a semantic media query, Semantic Mediawiki query. Give me all pages or all Wikibase items from that are linked to category 1, and then, for example, give me the coordination of it to display it as a map. Or you can use the same in forms, for example, to say, okay, give me input field from the category and display it as a tree, and then MediaWiki will take care of displaying this as a tree. And when you select the upper category, all subcategories are already included in your query, so you don't have to manage this transitivity of queries. Okay, I will share this. So we have here links to the Git hub. The upper one is our software, which makes it easy to use Semantic Wikibase. The second one is original Semantic Wikibase extension made by Professional Wiki. And then we have 3 wikis that we created within the last 3 months using this technology. So this shows, I think, that it's really fast development. You can save a lot of time and create great projects in really less time. And then last thing is here that you might say, yes, but I only have a database. I don't have need for presentation because I don't have end users. But visualizations might still very important. For example, this is a portal from philosophers where we use Semantic Wikibase. We have some philosophical texts, and we used AI to tag these texts using a dictionary, the historical dictionary of philosophers, using 5,000 words. And then the question is, okay, how good is the AI text linking here? Because we hear a lot of, yes, we used AI and here and that, but the question is, okay, what about transparency here? So the first thing we used here, just for the philosopher group, which worked with this data, let's have a visualization of our Wikibase words, of our dictionary. We just used a open source JavaScript library embedded as a widget. You couldn't do that in a Wikibase, but you can do it in a Semantic Mediawiki very easily. So this is just our Wikibase items which represent a dictionary, 5,000 words that are classified into subgroups, and then you have such a 3D visualization where you can instantly see, okay, do we have some bias here? Do we have categories that are even larger than other things? And then we said, okay, what about transparency about AI? So what we used then is that we said, okay, let's have the same visualization with the same words, but we asked the word embedding AI, give us for every word in the dictionary the distance, the semantic distance from your point of view to the other words in the dictionary. And what this looks like is the same dictionary that we saw. Let me refresh that. The same dictionary that we saw represented from the point of view from the AI. This is just a forced graph, so it tries to organize the words that words are from point of view from the AI semantically near to each other. It tries to point it here near to each other. And we colored the words by the categories in the dictionary. So we have now some transparency about what the AI model does here. For example, we see that the blue group is really separated from others. So this model is really good in separating this category of words. Also, we see that there are really some classes of groups where the AI think, okay, this is a group of words, then is nothing, and then comes another group. But some of the subgroups here are mixed. And when my research question is, for example, to separate words of class A and class B, but the model mixes them up, then I can identify it using such visualizations and say, okay, maybe I need another model here. So this gives us some transparency, and we can make of such visualizations with our Wikibase data using Semantic Wikibase. Thank you.